Okie doke, I was just going to check the temperature on the water in my pool. And if you notice, it's 231 degrees. But it does say shorted H2O sensor. So I'm going to turn this off. Now, I figured out right here is the water temperature. Mind you, I probably ought to start at the beginning. This is a Jandy heat pump. There is one screw in the cover that goes on here. That screws right there. This is the initial cover and a 5/16 nut driver. Gets that off. Holy cow, I didn't even notice there was a wiring diagram in here. Anyhow, so what I did do in my diagnostics is I figured out if I took out all the screws on the top cover here, the fan is mounted to the top cover, and you probably can't see. You see the white pipe down there? There's a wire going into that black area. On the left-hand side, there is a a green shrink wrap around the temperature sensor, and there's a wire worm screw clamp, hose clamp as people would call it. Alright, I'm going to turn off the pump. I'm going to turn the power off on the heater. And I'm going to show you the first part of my testing here. So I'm going to remove the screws. I got a brand X that I believe the proper probe is a 7790 from Jandy, and you could pay anywhere from $60 to $80 for them. I got this on Amazon, and I'll have to bring it closer here. The wires actually came pre-stripped. So it said it's a 10K ohm sensor. So I'm going to just swap the wires in and see if it reads temperature. Now, the same probe in this unit, there's two identical probes, and I believe that would be the other one, because that's the, I'm sorry, I believe this is the other one that would read just the air temperature. Now, it's possible that it's calibrated at different curve rates, so the middle temperatures between complete the bottom of the range and complete upper of the range would be different, but we're just going to plug it in and see what we get. Okie doke. So I put this in. The wire coloring is different. It's not red and black. Let's see, where's the, yeah, the red and black here. Alright, it's red and white. So this is the sensor. I've got it plugged in, and so it's not going to run unless the pump's going and power is on. So it goes through a boot sequence, and when I hit the pump, it's saying 86 degrees, which that may be very well accurate. I'm going to pause again. Okay, so I just checked. It does say 86 degrees here, and the external temperature on my app on my phone, which is not a heat probe right here, says it's 85 degrees. So that's close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades. Okay, so now I'm going to turn off the pool pump and turn off power to the heat pump. And as it may be, it's always a bad idea to leave your tools on the equipment, because you may leave tools in the equipment. I'm going to need two hands, but before I do that, I'm going to point out there were screws all around here and only one in the back. And I'm just going to lift this up and place it so I can remove the sensor. Okay, so here's the fan. Here's what I was talking about, is this is the temperature sensor worm screw. I think that might be a pressure sensor, that it's testing the pressure. Now here is the other temperature sensor. So before I unscrew it, I just want to see that the ends are identical. My plan B is to put this one in there if it's not the same diameter. Okie doke. Alright, so I'm not breaking out a caliper, but it looks to me like they're the same. And there's an O-ring fitted right there. So hopefully that fits just fine. Back over here. Alright, so... Can I read that? No, it's better if you read it right side up. So 5/16 nut driver. Works on the worm. Okay, I completely removed this. And now, I'm going to remove this here. It looks identical to me. I hear water gurgling out. Seems like it fits in okay. Probably if I read the instructions it says don't beat it in. I'm gonna grab the clamp. Okie doke. Alright, so this is thoroughly tightened up. I got a bunch of excess wire. I guess I can trim and strip. And probably ought to grab some zippy ties and zippy tie it up unless I thread it under where it already is. Okay, there just happens to be enough slack to thread this under. And I did trim this, so it's twice the length of what I need. And I will shortly thereafter pull this out, and I'm going to finish threading this through and into the electrical box. Okie doke, and I have this threaded through. Like I said, I made it twice as long as I figure it should be. I'm going to check the slack inside before I make the final cut. Okay, I did push the wire back a little because it was pulled taut, and so I am just going to leave it that way. So looking at it here, I'm going to cut it here so I have a little bit of a loop, and you know what? If while I'm stripping the wire, I do it wrong, I've got enough to make it right. Okie doke. I trimmed and stripped the wire, and I tightened it up. You always want to just pull on them, make sure they don't come out, so you know you got it in good. Screws are just angled a little, they're not perpendicular right here. So I snaked the wire around here. There's no moving components here. So there's a little bit of vibration. But that should be it. That should be the whole install. I'm going to leave the old one there. The extra screw somebody left there. And I'm going to put it back together and see how it works. Okie doke, just to keep it dangerous and real, I'm going to run this with the panel open. I did screw in numerous screws around the unit. So let's turn on the pool pump. Let's hit the circuit breaker. We see the firmware revision, and it's telling me the water's 81 degrees, which is probably pretty damn accurate. So the spa pump looks like it's going to go on. So to count this as a completed work, I think I'm going to have to turn everything off and put covers on it. So I will finish the report by letting you know if it regulates the temperature correctly on the hot tub. Actually, I'm assuming this is where one of these is where you evacuate and recharge the refrigerant. Let's just talk tech here for a minute. HVAC stuff is not that complicated. There's a motor capacitor. Where was the motor capacitor? Oh, actually, I'm sorry. The motor capacitor was under here, and there's a contactor up here also. And I'm just going to finish putting this together. Unit kicked on. Let's see if we can read it. Water's 81 degrees. It just started. I was checking. There was no leak from the water temperature sensor. Front cover's on, and with it being 85 degrees, temperature should tick up a degree every 10 minutes about. I don't know that I'm going to get it up to operating temperature, which is set to 104 degrees. Actually, like hot tub's about 106. But it will come back. It is running, so I'm sure it's going to be making heat. Okay, I've been giving this a periodic check. Currently it's saying 98 degrees. I am going to grab a food thermometer and check what the hot tub actually says. I had this in from the house, so it may still be warming up to the outside temperatures. Now, I have been monitoring this periodically, and both temperatures have been spot on, and it still is. So I'm going to see if this clicks off at 104, and that will be a done deal. Okay, the heat pump shut down. It says it's set for 104 degrees, and it says the water is 104 degrees. Let's check the hot tub. And I'm just getting the heat probe in, and if it doesn't go to 104, which it just did, I would say it's a success. But we are concurring that 104 degrees on the hot tub, 104 degrees here. So the short of it is, you do not need a $60 or $80 heat probe. You can get a $24 heat probe for your Jandy hot tub, for your Jandy heat pump that heats your pool and your hot tub, and you can be just fine with that. I'll include that in the annotation in the notes, in the notes below the video for the product that I purchased.